Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another live stream / recording of Hearthstone. Today is Saturday, May 30th, and we've got a lot of Paladin class cards to do, so I don't want to really even try the Battle Cry cards until I'm done, because I've done 4 of those just trying to do these, and I'm getting Paladin victories while I'm at it, so this stream, as it's going, may not be that long. I have, however, gotten one person named Walter on the chat to say hi and subscribe to my channel, so thank you for that if you're still watching. Hopefully you are. I'm hoping to get more people on the chat. I'm hoping to get more people watching live in general. Every time I do a live stream for Hearthstone, I get about 30 views compared to the pre-recording videos, which the pre-recorded versions of these videos, which only get about 5 videos, so, or 5 views, which is a 5 times multiplication. Neither of those numbers are very good, honestly, but they are improvements. And this channel will only grow on improvements. It almost certainly won't grow to the point where one day I just jump up to 10,000 subscribers and 500,000 views on a video. That I may eventually work my way up to those numbers, but it's going to be through hard work and trying my best to do right by my fan base, not by just randomness. Even if I did, for some reason, blow up on the internet, it would be such a temporary thing that I don't know how many people would stay for a long amount of time. Moving on with the news, I suppose we'll just focus on this.
The light protects me. The light protects me.
This guy's gonna die next turn, which is a shame because I wanted to play that. And that. But whatever. Countless numbers of Second Life rabbits are going to die. They're going to starve to death because of a legal argument that eventually led to a cease and desist that eventually caused the company that makes these Second Life bunnies to shut down their servers, and the bunnies have to contact the servers to eat, and if they don't eat, they'll hibernate. This seems kind of nefarious in itself, though. I mean, first of all, if somebody's in Second Life and that's their community and they have this pet, they're going to be very, very sad. I know a long time ago I had Tamagotchis and Hey You Pikachus and all of those little virtual pets, and it's certainly not nice or fun when they died.
Don't worry, loves. The cavalry's here.
So that really sucks, and particularly on the virtual pets, it's not nice when they die when you're really trying to keep them alive. It also seems like it would be nothing for them to issue some kind of patch or something so that all the bunnies just stay alive without having to connect to the server that they have to shut down. So this really feels like they're trying to scam people into buying the lifetime element that is available in this game, where there's this upgrade to them where if you have the lifetime upgrade on the bunnies, they won't need to talk to the server. And that's exactly what they're saying, is if you don't want your animal to die, you've got to do this. Now, I don't know how many people are even actually on Second Life these days, but they're trying to do several VR versions of Second Life. But I assume that it's probably a small community that is probably not going to be very happy with this news.
I fight. I
For justice.
Job done.
Microsoft has seemed to renewed its trademark for Scalebound, but honestly, I don't think that really means much in two different ways. One, I think it's probably just some lawyers racking up some billable hours to renew the trademark. And two, I don't think the trademark of Scalebound will stay under Microsoft's control or be defensible, really, because they're not doing anything with it anyways. And so you have to show, as I understand trademarks, that you're actively using it, and this doesn't seem like they don't seem like they're actively using it.
You pay, I protect.
So
The battle.
see this,
I fight.
this,
I fight.
this,
The battle.
here,
The battle.
here,
Job
in
done.
turn. So they may lose the trademark on Scalebound anyways. Scalebound as a phrase feels like it is something that you actually have a fair argument to say that I should be able to use this as a trademark. Unlike the game that was just very quietly renamed. Let me see if I can find it on my list. Where did I put that? Crytek's game called Hunt Horrors of the Gilded Age was quietly renamed itself to Hunt Shadowfall. None of those words should it be trademarkable. Hunt Horrors of the Gilded Age. None of those words in that combination feel like something that deserves to exist. Let's go ahead and kill this one. Kill that one. Oops, I didn't mean to do that.
Should have paid. The battle. Quickly.
Just kill that there. Moving on to the next thing. Overwatch made Pornhub's top 20 searches in 2016, despite Blizzard's attempts. So, the top 20 phrases searched on Pornhub, looking for porn versions, was Overwatch. I don't know if Pornhub is particularly the right source for that, but apparently it's a decent enough source that people kept trying it. Let's see. I want this, and like if I do this,
Reporting for duty. For
and
justice.
then do this,
Reporting
and
for duty.
then this,
Pay, I protect.
and then end the turn. Life is Strange Season 2 has been finally confirmed after a very long time in which they said they weren't going to make a sequel. They were hinting that it didn't sell enough or that they were just too busy working on something else. I'm not even sure why they handled it the way they did, because it certainly seems like enough people like that game to Life is Strange 1. I do have Life is Strange 1, so I do want to play it now that I know there's going to be a sequel, even though it seems to they say that the Season 2 is unlikely to continue the story in Season 1. Now, I don't know what happens in Season 1, so I don't know how much of that really matters. Steam had some issues on May 19th. No real report on what it was, but people were having trouble logging in and it was loading poorly. That's barely much of anything to say about that. There's barely news there. Let's see. Attack
For
here.
justice.
Get 2 more of these. Now if I play this, let's see, if I do this and then this, so
Well met.
let's get rid of a 6. Probably
Should have
just
paid.
this way. So there's the ice block, as I figured was the case. And then
To battle.
we do this one. That gives them a duplicate. Let's see. I can kill one more of these guys.
Move quickly. To battle. Reporting for duty. Reporting for duty.
I can't play any more cards,
To
unfortunately.
battle.
I'm taking too long, obviously. If I kill this one and get one more, it doesn't matter. I need to actually kill this one and this one, and then get one more, and then give them the extra attack. Or just play this card. I guess I know which cards are the Paladin cards because they have this background. So goofing around like this is not actually doing anything for me. Mario Kart, moving on with the next news thing. Might as well just go through all of this. Mario Kart 8 developers are going to have patched out what is called the Bras d'Honneur, potentially obscene gesture. So it's a gesture that looks like the Bras d'Honneur. It's not really what they were going for, I don't think. But it's
Reporting for duty.
the squid character in when it wins looks over their shoulder backwards and brings up their right arm and flexes their muscle and then grabs the muscle with the other their left hand, and this is apparently close to an obscene gesture in Brazil, Italy, and France. Now I think inherently that you're going to run into this problem with international games, is that almost every gesture is an obscene gesture to somebody. And frankly, like, well, I thought at first, looking at the pictures of it, I thought that they were afraid that people were thinking that they were putting their fist up and then raising a middle finger, which is a more universally known insult. That's not even the case. So the action that I see them doing is something I think I've seen in plenty of animes and not as an insult, and it kind of looks like the "We Can Do It" propaganda poster in the United States. I once, as a way of learning MySQL and PHP, programmed a database of potentially obscene words and variants of it, and to filter out usernames that would be obscene if I was going to make a website that would just filter that. By the time I had filtered out a massive list in which I'd found of insults, many of which I'd never even heard of, so I had no idea of figuring out if it was that if the insulting or offending usernames were very offensive or slightly offensive. But by the time I had put this massive list in the database, it was darn near impossible to make any username in it at all. It would just always come back and say this is too close to an insult. I suppose I didn't program it for enough feedback, honestly, because I should have had it say which insult it was too close to, but then you have a website cussing at somebody, and that was an inherent problem. So yeah, that is a problem with international things, and I guess what you should do is potentially only filter out usernames that are English-speaking word insults to make it a little bit easier to actually
Well met.
have anything succeed. And I think my rules, and I was programming it, it didn't really matter that I probably programmed it too strict, because I was simply teaching myself in a self-education use. I wasn't actually making a website. That website idea was cool because I was thinking at some point of trying to make a website where it integrated all the achievements from Xbox, PlayStation. If I'm not even sure if Steam had achievements back then. As an idea, this was right when achievements were big, and I was super obsessed with them. And by the time I was halfway done thinking and just learning on how much work that would take to actually make a website like that, I was at the point where I realized, oh, like, people aren't going to care about achievements that much, and it's not going to become this huge flare that people put on their Facebook sites. Now, I'm sure there are still a lot of people like that are obsessed with achievements, but I just don't think it's as much as you would think.
Reporting for duty. Reporting for duty.
I could play this, or I can do this.
Mount up.
And I think doing this is the better move.
Be purged. Oh. Be purged.
Moving on to the next news, the original Shadow Warrior Alpha and Beta have been released, I think, on Steam. It's really hard to find it though. Like, I was reading the article, I clicked the link, it took me to a different original Shadow Warrior. There's like 2 Shadow Warrior classics available on Steam. One that's like free to play, one that costs money. I'm not even sure what's really going on there.
To Northrend.
But it is
To battle.
certainly odd.
Victory.
Kill this one.
To battle.
And let's go ahead and kill this one.
To battle.
Attack with everything else.
To battle. To battle.
Activision, Square Enix, and Codemasters have all dropped prices in the Humble Store. So if you want to buy games in the Humble Store, that's available to you. There's an argument to buying games in the Humble Store, since you seem to get a Steam key for anything you buy there anyways. It doesn't seem like a terrible idea. I buy the Humble Bundles probably when they make sense every month. I assume this is for the pre-summer sale, which is going to happen in June for Steam. The sales on Steam since I got really big into buying video games haven't been that great. Digital Devolver is on sale right now, and I got a few things. I completed like a collection for 30 cents, and that's all I did, because the rest of the Digital Devolver games are 70% off or lower, or as low as like 40% off even. So not the greatest of deals, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure how I want to look at the budget this year, because it's not like I've really burnt through what I bought in the last 2 summer sales. Maybe, have I done 2 summer sales? I think I might have.
Put your faith in the light.
I still have a lot of games. A lot of them are. A lot of the games I have are not inherently ones that I'm gonna play, but they're there in the collection for me to own, just in case I ever want to do that. For a great example of that is I started playing the King's Quest 2015 remake. Oh, I didn't realize this one stole divine shields from the other sides. Oh. I did not realize that. There's a King's Quest Legacy collection on Steam that I got, and I knew even when I was getting it that I was only going to use it as a reference point to play the remake, the reboot. There was never any chance that I was going to play through those old Sierra King's Quest games because I didn't have that love for them, because I didn't play them when I was a kid, and they are text-based adventure games where it's not until like King's Quest 3 that you even have mouse support. At one point they let you have joystick controller support for DOSBox, which probably means no joystick you use in modern time would work. The interface and manipulating of the characters and walking around is awful. I literally, when I was spotlighting King's Quest 1 through 7, took about an hour, and I was just playing to the point where I legitimately just died, because Sierra games are built around the idea that you're going to die a lot and you have to save scum, and you're going to lose a lot unless you are following a guide very specifically.
To battle.
Let's see. Can I do anything here?
Minion already attacked.
Let's play this.
For justice.
Job done.
Reporting for duty.
In the turn. I'm gonna lose this one, but I don't mind. So I was just playing to the point of dying, and it took me about less than 10 minutes in every single game to die. One of the King's Quest games has a DRM that isn't cracked or patched, so you have to actually do this, look at the manual DRM to even launch the game. It's awful. And all the games are awful. King's Quest 5 specifically, I think, or was it 6, looked really good. Looked like it might be playable if I had some nostalgia for it and really wanted to put the effort. But then King's Quest 6 and 7, I believe, looked pretty bad after that. There was a decent, noticeable drop in quality after that.
I will fight.
And then in doing more research from these games from 1983 to 1993, the very, very old games, it turns out that there's kind of a prequel to the King's Quest series called The Wizard and the Princess that you seem to not be able to get. At least you can't get it on Steam. And then King's Quest 8, The Mask of Eternity, although it may not have been actually ever called King's Quest 8, is impossible to get also. So you just have this middling collection here. Apparently there was some controversy on like writer disputes, who was in charge and what the story was supposed to be on King's Quest 8. And at some point in there, I'm pretty sure Sierra went out of business and Activision just bought the rights to them, and so nobody that's actually working on that originally worked on King's Quest is doing anything with it. There might have been a lady that was writing the whole story, because I know King's Quest 7 seemed a little yay women in a good way. Like, I don't mind it at all. In fact, I'm really loving the King's Quest reboot, 2015 reboot made by the Odd Gentleman. I would say that there is a good argument that the Odd Gentleman, being a company that had only made one 2D platformer that was in black and white stylistically before, they probably didn't have as good of the animation chops as I would have liked for the King's Quest reboot, because that name is in the mind of video game players. Even me, who's never played any of it, knows the phrase King's Quest. It's not just this thing that nobody's ever heard of. So to reboot it with a company that they're doing a good job, they're just not doing as much of a good job as I would like. And I'm very much enjoying it. The story practically completely rips off Princess Bride, which is not a bad thing because I like Princess Bride. And it even has one of the voice actors from Princess Bride as a character, or somebody doing a very good impression of one of the actors from Princess Bride. So that's really cool. And in the Princess Bride, same way, you have your granddaughter, Gwendolyn, who's listening to the King Graham, who is the character you play as, tell his stories of his youth. And it's really cool. So you have this precocious little girl in the commenting on what you're saying and asking questions like, is there going to be a dragon in this story? Please tell me there's a dragon. She loves dragons and stuff, and it's cool. And all the characters are really cool. I'm really loving this. It's kind of a kid-friendly fantasy thing. It seems like there's 3 paths throughout the game, so you could have been more violent in playing the game. You can be really friendly playing the game, which is what I'm doing. Or you can be overtly smart to the point of being tricky and tricking people and being nasty about it.
The battle.
Let's go ahead and kill this.
I concede.
Interesting. So yeah, I'm really loving playing King's Quest to Reboot. This is one of the few games I've played recently that hasn't had at least some issues. And there are a few issues with the game. All games have a few issues, but I've been in a little bit of a rut. Let's see. Well, I think next recording we could do the battle cry and just take a little bit of break between playing the Paladin cards. But one more Paladin victory and 27 more Paladin cards, and then we're done. If you're watching live, stay tuned. If you're watching this recorded, as always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.